Are you sick of looking at Netflix and you don't know what to watch?
So many movies out there, you don't know which ones are good, which ones were bad.
You curious about what's out there?
I'm Joey Powers.
I'm Don Trettler.
This is The Best Pictures.
The ones you don't want to miss.
Hit it.
Say hello to my little friend.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Winners go home and prom queen.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I don't deserve this. Deserves got nothing to do with it. No sequel for you.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Best Pictures. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
I'm Don Trettler. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk about movies.
Yeah, what a surprise, talking about movies. I did just want to mention briefly about this weekend's box office. Fast and the Furious, they call it their first spin-off. I still kind of think Tokyo Drift was kind of a spin-off in a way.
Oh.
But Hobbs and Shaw was number one at the box office, 60 million in North America and over 150 or 180 worldwide. So that's off to a really good start.
I'm not surprised. It really didn't have a lot of competition this week.
No, I mean, just holdovers. You know, I mean, Aladdin was second, almost $40 million. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood held up well, over $20 million in its second weekend. It's actually higher at this time in a movie that Tarantino has done than any other movie he's done. It's at $78 million in about 14 days of release, so
Right.
it's doing pretty well.
Well, it's got good reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good cast.
word of mouth is real good on it.
Mm-hmm.
We put out good word on it.
Yeah, exactly. We reviewed it last week. But yeah, so we're talking, I guess, kind of just movies they're kind of just made to win Oscars. Like, you're not going to have, like, a huge ensemble cast necessarily, or the big budget production, anything like that. It's just movies that are flat out. You could tell they're released at the right time of the year when everybody's going to the movies to see Oscar contenders. I don't know, did you have a list? Like, did you look up some, or?
No, I was going to go off the top of my head.
Well, a perfect example to me of one, and it actually won, was The Hurt Locker. Because Catherine Bigelow, we had just discussed it before it became on air.
Yeah.
I actually didn't. I completely forgot.
Well, go ahead. You talk. I'll look her up.
But, I mean, Point Break was a big movie. You know, and to me, that's what I knew her from, was the director of Point Break. And once award seasons came around, I found out that she was James Cameron's ex-wife. And he was actually nominated for Best Director and Best Picture for Avatar. And she was nominated for Director and Picture for The Hurt Locker. Jeremy Renner is a star, and Jeremy Renner was by no means a household name at the time. Like, I went and saw him in the theater, and I didn't even recognize him. And I'll be honest, I didn't like The Hurt Locker. I thought it was boring.
Did you really?
And I think you liked it a lot.
I did, and it's a movie I'd like to see again. How come Catherine Bigelow doesn't come up on this?
It's Kathryn.
Oh, okay.
That's why, because I had to look it up too.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what came out before The Hurt Locker, because I really liked The Hurt Locker, and like you say, their lead character, Jeremy Renner, the lead actor in it, wasn't a household name, and really he's more of a household name right now.
Oh, absolutely.
But still not. I mean, he's still not a huge.
He's not
star
huge,
by
but I
any
mean,
means.
he's in all the Avengers movies. You know, he plays Hawkeye, so I mean, that's a pretty big character. He was great in The Town. He was nominated in back-to-back years. He was nominated for Best Actor in The Hurt Locker, and then the next year, supporting actor or not the next year, I guess a couple of years later, for supporting actor for The Town. But yeah, I mean,
Maybe I got to do this by the movie itself.
but I mean, that's just a movie to me that I look at. All right, I got it right here if you want. But like Colin also made a good point, like Bohemian Rhapsody. You know, because that's kind of, I mean, I feel like everyone knew that was going to be a big budget, and it was going to make a lot of money because it's supposedly supposed to be the story of Queen. But really, no household names, no one you really look at. Like Rami Malek, I didn't know who he was until I saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
No,
and
I
found
didn't.
out he had like a hit TV show. But I mean, it made a ton of money, and it ultimately did win. I mean, I think we've had this discussion because I haven't seen many of the other films that won or were nominated for Best Picture. But to me, it was the best movie I saw last year. So I mean, he won Best Actor. I think they won like 4 Academy Awards. So I think it might have actually won more Oscars than any other movie last year.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I think it was Green Book. That ended
Right,
up
which I
winning
haven't
Picture.
seen.
Right. So was she in any? Were you seeing?
Well, I'm
anything?
looking at a couple of movies. It says K-19, The
The
Widowmaker.
Widowmaker.
Did you see that?
I did. That's with Harrison Ford and Liam Neeson.
Oh, that's what I thought.
It's not bad. Wasn't a huge budget considering those two actors are definitely household names. Like everybody knows who both of them are.
And here's this other one, The Weight of Water. I don't know what that is.
I haven't seen that or heard of it. That looks. Oh yeah, I have
Sean
Sean
Penn.
Penn. Yeah, I have heard of that. I haven't seen it. I think he was nominated for an Oscar for it. But yeah. So she didn't really have like a big resume going into the Hurt Locker.
I guess not. I'm surprised because I kind of thought she was a little bit more well regarded.
But after that, she did
She is
Zero
now.
Dark 30. Yeah.
What's she done since Zero Dark 30?
I don't know. Take a look. I don't know. I haven't seen Zero Dark 30.
Oh,
Did you like it?
yeah, real
Yeah,
good.
You liked it a lot, right?
Yeah, it was kind of. I don't know how close. I think they kept it pretty close to historical events of capturing Bin Laden, and kind of what led up to it. And they did a great job because they didn't take a side on saying whether torturing people to get information was, you have to judge for yourself. Is it worth it?
Under the circumstances, try to figure out for yourself what you think is.
But I think she did a great job of balancing that line so that it really, I think, it doesn't take a side in that argument. Just kind of shows it to you, and I think that's just something amazing in itself. So let's see what she did since Zero Dark 30. Oh, she did Detroit.
I haven't seen that. Have you?
Yeah, that's real good.
Is it?
But again, it's no. She didn't use name actors in it. I can't tell you. Boy, I really have to rack my brain to think of who the name actor was from the movie. It wasn't a big star.
I mean, I feel like she's very choosy too, though. Like she just doesn't go after a film just to make a movie. She wants a movie. She like it's almost like an art to her. Like this is my movie. I'm gonna make it my way because it doesn't look like she's done what 20 directing credits, and I wonder how many of those are actually movies. Doesn't look like many.
Yeah, some of them are shorts. I think she did some TV. She directed some episodes on television and stuff. But yeah, I think now, she gets the budgets. She's highly regarded.
Right, she can do what she wants.
Yeah, Detroit's certainly not going to bring her down any. I don't know that it made a lot of money. So I don't know if
Now I'm curious to see who they actually.
if the studios. But then again, I don't know if they really put a big ad campaign behind it. But it was well reviewed, which attracted me, and I wanted to see it. And if you live in Bellows Falls, we have it in the library.
Oh, Anthony Mackie's in it.
That's who it is,
He's
yeah.
in the Avengers movies. John Boyega.
That's who it is.
Is he
Star Wars?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's who it
So
is.
she got a couple decent names.
Yeah, but not huge. They're
No,
not huge stars or anything, which is
Absolutely
kind of
not, no.
cool.
Yeah.
It's a real good, like I say, it's a real good movie.
It gets a 7.3 on IMDb, so it's
She might even be,
pretty solid.
I was going to say, maybe like the top female director.
She probably is. I
right
think she
now.
was the first female director to win Best Director. I think she's still the only female director to win Best Director.
Wow.
But you talking about Zero Dark 30 kind of reminded me of a couple movies that hit on the subject we're talking about, as far as movies that are flat out made just to win Oscars.
And I wonder if that one was. Jessica Chastain was kind of up and coming.
That made money though. Like I feel like they knew that was gonna make money because of the subject, but I also feel like that had a bigger budget than what the Hurt Locker did. Because I think at that time she was established. She already had an Oscar for Best Director. Her film won Best Picture. But yeah, Syriana
Yeah.
came out the same year. Clooney had 2 movies that year, and I feel like they were both made strictly not to make money as much to win Oscars. The second one was Good Night and Good Luck. He directed and co-wrote Good Night and Good Luck, and he ultimately won his first Oscar for supporting actor for Syriana. But I feel like that kind of was kind of the balance what you're talking about between torture or not, because there's a scene where he gets his fingernails pulled out.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I've seen it or if I've seen all of it.
It was
Who else is in it?
Clooney, Matt Damon, and Jeffrey Wright.
And who is it? Is it Matt Damon that has the child that gets killed?
That dies in the swimming pool. Yeah.
So I don't know if I saw the end of this movie.
I
I did start to watch
I
it.
haven't
though.
seen it in a really long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it, but it came out 15 years ago. So I think George Clooney's character kind of just disappears in the end. I don't remember because I haven't seen it in a long time, but I'm pretty sure because he's a CIA operative and
Right.
you know he gets tortured by someone in the Middle East. I don't remember, but and that's when they pull his fingernails out, and then ultimately he's like breached or whatever, and I think his character does end up just kind of disappearing at the end of the movie.
Right. So you think that one was made for
Oh,
some
absolutely.
Oscar buzz?
I mean, it came out at the right time, and same with Good Night and Good Luck. I mean, it's a black and white movie. It did have a pretty stellar cast. I mean, David Strathairn's not really a household name, but he was a star. He was nominated for Best Actor. He was nominated for Best Picture. Clooney was nominated for Director and Writing. You know, so I mean, it definitely.
And what'd you think of the movie?
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No, I saw Syriana. I haven't seen Good Night, Good Luck. I can't do black and white.
I know I saw it, and I don't really remember much about it outside of I remember that it had to do with Clooney played Edward R. Murrow.
Yeah, and
Or was it
David
David
Strathairn
Strathairn?
play? He was the anchor. Strathairn was the anchor.
So maybe he was Edward R.
Yeah,
Murrow,
okay.
and George Clooney was another famous. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen it. I feel like that movie was a movie specifically made because it didn't have a huge budget and it wasn't like a huge release when it came out.
Right.
So I don't know. I just kind of thought of those two movies when you were talking about.
Well, what about like? I know we talk about this all the time, but Titanic. But Titanic wasn't released at Oscar time.
It just stayed in the theaters forever because
Yeah.
it was so big that by the time it finally went out of theaters, it was actually during Oscar season. So all the Oscar people that are going to watch Oscar movies saw it.
It had like
Yeah.
the name director. I mean, it had the historical event, right? That things are based on.
The big name
had
director.
the big name director.
The hugely talked about over the top budget where he went over by hundreds of millions of dollars. And he said he wasn't even going to take any money from it. And the studio was like, yeah, you are. Because it's going to make so much money. I mean, DiCaprio was not quite a household name. This is kind of what made him the household name. Kate Winslet was up and coming as well. I think she had just been in Sense and Sensibility. Like Emma Thompson and a couple other famous actresses.
So Leonardo DiCaprio, he did. Well, maybe I'm.
He
Maybe I
did
can't
Basketball
remember.
Diaries. He'd already been nominated for an Oscar for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Right.
So I mean, he was kind of established. He was in the one with De Niro and I can't think of the woman's name. It's another Scorsese movie. He's done a lot of movies with Scorsese, but I think this is the movie that really made him. He was like the heartthrob for all the high school girls. You know, I mean.
Had he done Gangs in New York?
No, Gangs in New York was early
That came
2000s.
after.
Yeah, but he did. Basketball Diaries was him and Mark Wahlberg. That was actually a pretty good movie. That's based on a true story.
Yeah, I was just listening to on the way in. I heard people who died from Jim Carroll, the guy who he played in the movie.
Oh, really?
I wonder if the songs in the movie.
I don't know.
It's a popular. It was kind of like it's the most popular song that.
But yeah, Titanic was a huge success. It was obviously the #1 movie of all time for 13 years, I think, until whenever Avatar broke it.
Right.
And that was another James Cameron movie, so I mean, he has a pretty good.
And there's another one coming, isn't there? Another
Avatar. There's like 3 more coming.
3 more Avatar
Yeah.
movies, all by Cameron.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Oh, This Boy's Life was De Niro.
Oh, that's all.
De
And
Niro.
Joe Mantegna.
Is he in that too?
Yeah, because I think Joe Mantegna is the. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. I'm confusing with another one.
Are you thinking of
with
The
De Niro.
Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. This is a young DiCaprio with Ellen Barkin's the mom. I was gonna say someone else, but it's actually not a bad movie. De Niro, it got a 7.3 as well. De Niro's like an abusive stepfather and husband, and but yeah. So he already had a few pretty big starring roles.
Oh, so he wasn't really huge by then. I kind of
DiCaprio?
Thought, yeah, I thought
No,
he was already a headliner.
I think Titanic made him what he. I mean, because now he's, I don't know, he might be the biggest name in Hollywood now.
I would say, yeah.
You know, I mean, there's not many. I mean, when Brad Pitt loses top billing to someone. You know, it's generally a
Yeah, that's kind of ironic.
that
too,
doesn't happen.
He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's playing kind of a has-been, and here a has-been is being played by probably the top guy.
the biggest
in
star
Hollywood.
in the world. You know, so.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I think they knew with Titanic. I mean, given the history, I mean, it's one of the biggest stories of all time. I mean, it was the unsinkable ship that sunk. You know, so I mean, even at 3 hours, I mean, it's the typical romantic love story. Boy and girl fall in love, they meet, you know, and then boy
What
dies.
about see, as we're talking about it, it's kind of occurring to me that a lot of it has to do with, say, like the directors, Spielberg. Almost any Spielberg movie, it comes out, it has that.
Oscar buzz.
Anything he
automatically.
does. Yeah.
Like, did you see Munich?
Eunuch, no.
Because that came out of nowhere,
yeah,
and it was
I know.
nominated for Best Picture and Best Director.
Yeah.
And like it literally came out like out of nowhere, and I think it was Eric Bana and Daniel Craig. I think are the two main characters in it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but it was a Spielberg movie, and he just like kind of snuck in for a Best Director nomination and a Best
I was
Picture.
thinking about like Lincoln, or I'm trying to think of the one with not Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, that Matt Damon, by Spielberg.
Tom Hanks and Matt Damon.
Yeah. Yeah, Saving Private Ryan.
Oh God! I was thinking.
I couldn't think
I
of
was
it.
thinking like recent.
Yeah.
I mean that's
I mean,
absolutely.
it comes out with it. Even all the supporting cast was so like they had gotten all the best supporting actors for it. It's like they were setting up. It was like setting up pins to get knocked down.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, that was coming right after Good Will Hunting. You know, it was big. Tom Sizemore was still a pretty big name at the time. He had been in he'd been in a few big time movies before he got into drugs. Tom Hanks was at that point. Tom Hanks may have been the #1 actor in the world.
Right.
Probably him, Tom Cruise, Mel Gibson. They were probably all right there. And yeah, Spielberg in a war movie. It doesn't matter who's in it. You put Spielberg in a war movie, I mean, you're going to be nominated for some Oscars. And I think we've talked about it on this show. That is the biggest, shocking, worst Best Picture upset of all time. When Shakespeare in Love beats Saving Private Ryan for Best Picture. That's inexcusable.
Right.
Like, serious. I mean, what do you think the two of them got for rating on IMDb? I'm going to say Saving Private Ryan got 8.5. And I'm going to say Shakespeare in Love got a little over 7, which I would say is too high.
I think it might fall just short of 8.5. So if let's say like 8.2.
What would you rank it?
What would I rank it?
Yeah. 8.6.
8.6 is what? Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, that's what Saving Private Ryan
Yeah.
is. 8.6. I agree. I think it's, outside of Platoon, I think it's the best war movie that's ever been made. I mean, the opening scene is just...
It's incredible.
It is.
If you haven't seen it, you got to see this. It's a filmmaking achievement.
It's a masterpiece. I mean, it seriously is one of those things. It was just... I watched the Oscars when they... I don't even remember who it was, when they announced the Best Picture, and I just turned it off.
You fell out of your seat.
I was just so mad. I'm like, how does that beat? All right, so Shakespeare in Love, what do you think? I'm going to say 7.0.
Wow, that low?
Yeah.
I think it's higher.
7.1.
Wow.
So that was close. So, I mean, you're talking about 8.6 versus 7.1. I mean, I
Have you
wouldn't
seen that movie?
Shakespeare in Love, yeah, I hated it. I wouldn't even give it. But see, I already
Did you
had,
watch it with a girl?
No, I already had a bad attitude going into it because I saw it after it won Best Picture. So I was I wasn't going to like it no matter what. You know, it's just one of those things. I thought Joseph Fiennes was actually pretty good.
Maybe Colin. Colin, did you see Shakespeare in Love?
Colin just saw Pulp Fiction for the first time like 2 weeks ago. Okay, baby steps. But a movie that I did want to talk about, and I think in a way it does kind of fit into the matter, was Little Miss Sunshine. Because I feel like they were kind of going for Oscars. With that
You think
movie.
so?
I think so. I mean, it's...
I thought it kind of came out. I thought it was under the radar, kind of like an independent movie, and it went to Sundance, and they liked it so much
That it got
that
picked
they
up
bought
on.
the rights
Yeah.
to it. And then they released it. But I don't think in making it they thought it was going to be Oscar worthy.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I just... mostly I just watched it for the first time in a couple of years, and I love the movie. I mean, the characters they're. I can't imagine any of the family being played by anyone else. It's just like, I mean, Greg Kinnear is so good at being a schmuck. You know, Toni Collette's kind of the one that tries to hold it all together. Steve Carell's the genius, the gay genius uncle that just tried killing himself. Paul Dano doesn't talk for 3/4 of the movie. And then, I mean, my favorite line in the whole movie is Paul Dano's line that he doesn't say, that Steve Carell says right after they get into the argument and they start the van and they drive off, and Paul Dano writes it down and hands it to Steve Carell. He's like, "Where's Olive?" And all of a sudden you just see her standing outside the grocery store or wherever they just came from, and they can't slow down the van because they can't start it. So she's like running and they're like reaching it. It's just so funny. You know, it's like such a like down to earth, like realistic. I don't know. It reminded me of I went to my sister's wedding a few years back, and I hadn't spent time with her whole family in a while. And I told them, I was like, "You need to watch Little Miss Sunshine."
They hadn't seen it.
Well, they hadn't. They're like, "Why? Is it that good?" I was like, "This is your family. This is you guys." I mean, they're.
Well, you know what I read about it? That they originally, when they wrote the screenplay, it was supposed to take place on the East Coast. It was supposed to be a Maryland family that needed to get to Florida for the pageant. And due to budget concerns, they switched the locales and they made it from like Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Yeah, to California, to like San Diego or wherever they were going.
Right. So that was kind of interesting. I also was reading that the Steve Carell part, that basically, well, this is according to what is it, Wikipedia, but they said it was written for Bill Murray.
Really?
So can you imagine Bill Murray in that role as Uncle Frank?
I don't think I would have liked him as much.
No.
I don't know. I think Steve Carell kind of nailed it.
Well, that's what they said. They kind of felt like the directors were like, "No, this guy's going to give us exactly what we want."
Yeah, I think all the actors absolutely nailed it. It got a 7.8.
Pretty high.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I mean, I agree. I might even say that's a little low. You know, I really liked it. I mean, it came out the same year as The Departed, and I remember watching the Oscars when I first started. And the first award was supporting actor, and Alan Arkin won for Little Miss Sunshine. He's another one. I mean, he killed it in that movie. He was perfect. And, you know, that was an upset because Eddie Murphy was like the heavy favorite. And I had to work early the next day, so I didn't watch it all. I recorded it. But I was like, you know, this could be their night. You know, I mean, because, like, I think the first 2 or 3 Oscars went to Little Miss Sunshine. And, you know,
What did they win for? So
I think they won screenplay, and I think they might have only won 2. I think it won screenplay and that. Yeah, won 2 Oscars, so it was probably screenplay and Alan Arkin.
yeah.
But it was nominated. It was a husband-wife director. Best writing, original screenplay, Michael Arndt, and best performance by an actor in a supporting role, Alan Arkin. And then best motion picture. Oh, it wasn't nominated for director. It was best picture, and then Abigail Breslin for best supporting actress. So it was nominated for 4 Oscars, won 2. But 2 big Oscars. I mean, screenplay and supporting actor, those are like
Right.
2 of the 5 big Oscars. So,
Well, there was a controversy about the producers because they had five producers listed. At the time, the Academy Awards would only list 3.
oh
They
really?
could only it was a rule that they had that they could only have 3 producers that could win the award.
Wow. Yeah, there's only 3 producers listed here.
So they had to leave a couple of them off. The other guys said there were 5. They were the ones that found the screenplay and presented the screenplay, found the directors for it, you know. So I just remember reading that. I thought that was pretty wild. Here's my other note too: is Abigail Breslin. This probably won't surprise you. She wore a fat suit. She wore like a padded suit for the movie.
Okay, no, that doesn't surprise me. I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me.
When I read it, I was like, oh, of course. That's why she looked the way she did,
Yeah.
you know? Because it's supposed to be about a little girl that's not, you know,
Yeah, I guess maybe we should have given it a description.
super attractive. You know,
And she's up for a beauty pageant in California.
and she was trained by Grandpa.
Yep,
Grandpa was her
the drug
coach.
addict grandpa. It's a funny movie. You should really check it out. I mean, it's gonna put a smile on your face regardless, just because of. I mean, they're all crazy. You know, not one of them is normal. I mean, I guess if there was one normal one, it would be Toni Collette.
She's normal.
You know,
she's
she's
closest
normal.
to normal.
Yeah.
She's trying to keep this whole.
Keep them together and like not lose her sanity at the same time. You know. But
And Paul, I was also looking at Paul Dano too, because he. I was trying to determine whether I had seen him or not.
I'd seen him in The Girl Next Door prior to that, and then a little bit, I think it came out around the same time, There Will Be Blood,
Right.
with Daniel Day-Lewis, which is a good movie.
And he got to work with Daniel Day-Lewis on another movie.
Was it Phantom Thread or no?
No, it was almost right after There Will Be Blood. It was like two names, like I can't remember what the names were. But I thought that must have been pretty wild, because if they're working on two films together,
I bet he
they
learned a
must
lot.
have gotten to know each
Yeah,
other.
they're probably pretty close.
And you get to pick the brains of probably the
The
best,
best actor of his generation, absolutely. We are out of time though.
Well, you guys should see this movie.
You should definitely watch Little Miss Sunshine. It'll put a smile on your face. Trust me. It's a dark comedy, but it's a comedy. It's an awkward way of saying a family movie, but it is ultimately a family movie because it's about a family. But until next week, I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
I'm Don Tretler. These are the ones you don't want to miss.
Yes.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Here's Johnny. Go ahead. Make my day.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.